Well, it looks like Andor is the next best Star Wars show since The Mandalorian. I just finished Andor Season 1 right here in my humble abode, and I'm going to talk to you guys about my thoughts and opinions on it. I feel like as of recent, these Star Wars shows have taken a little bit of a dip in quality. I loved The Mandalorian when it first came out, and it set the bar so high. So it's incredibly noticeable when these shows end up being more mid. After the last two Star Wars shows, I wasn't very excited for Andor. It ended up setting the bar pretty, not even low, just in the middle. I was in such a weird gray area, and I just didn't really care that it was coming out. But I'm really glad I decided to watch Andor because I was absolutely wrong, and I can't believe I almost missed out. This show is amazing. The characters, the set design, the dialogue, the action, everything about this show is so great. When I heard they were making a show about Cassian Andor, that one guy from Rogue One who was very passionate about the rebellion, I couldn't have given less of a fuck. I have mixed feelings about Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and one of my biggest problems with that movie is that the characters are like clean slates. They have nothing backing them up. They are just what's on the surface, and that is especially true for Cassian. So this show, because he has nothing to set him up in Rogue One, is able to do almost anything it wants. And before I saw this, I thought, wow, I feel like Cassian would be one of the most boring characters to make a whole show off of. And now I completely disagree with that because he is the perfect character to build an entire show off of. He's a really fun character because he wants to run, but he knows he needs to fight. And it's hard for him to come to terms with that. And my love for the character is further enjoyed by the supporting cast. All of the other characters in this show are amazing. How the fuck did we get a show about Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I enjoy watching Mon Mothma set up under-the-nose rebellion shit way more. I'd say most of the supporting characters in this show are just as interesting as Cassian. Bix, Luthen, Marva, that blonde woman whose name is slipping my mind right now, Mon Mothma. They all add so much to the overall story and to Cassian's story. Another thing I really like about this show that the other Star Wars shows actually don't have over it is this one wasn't shot on a stage. It was shot on location, on real sets, and you can tell because it looks so much better. Technology and VFX have always found a really great way to make something look like it's real, like it's really there, and it doesn't even do a bad job. It really works under a time crunch, and when you need to get something out quick. But real sets into a show, it looks so much better. We haven't really gotten to see much of the time period that Andor takes place in Star Wars, and the initial creation of the rebellion is incredibly dark, depressing, and incredibly entertaining. I love Luthen's ruthlessness. He doesn't have a care in the world about what happens to the people that he's working with. He wants to get his mission done. The rebellion isn't even that far off the ground. They had their first big break in this series, and he's already this ruthless. He helps Cassian for like 2 episodes and then spends the rest of the season sending people to go kill him. He's just not the nicest fella. I like that the beginning of the rebellion is very bleak, and it makes sense that it is. Like in Rogue One, we get to see the realism of guerrilla warfare and hit-and-run tactics. I also like that these missions or riots never even usually go the best, and there's more often than not a number of casualties. This show really is a lot darker than most Star Wars media I've seen. Both Boba Fett and Mandalorian has had its moments, but this show crosses their line. The show doesn't hold back on the content that it's trying to push, and I'm really appreciative of that. One of my favorite parts of the whole season was the Prison Break storyline, as I think it would have been for most other people. It is such a good side plot, and it loosely reminds me of the Reiko Hardin storyline in Clone Wars when they were in prison and did the prison break. This one is so much cooler because it's so much more earned. It's not done over 1 episode. It's done through like 3, and we get to watch these characters learn, grow, and finally break out. Also, Andy Serkis is in the prison, and he's awesome. I love when I see Andy Serkis. I'm also really glad that his character has absolutely no connection to Snoke.
Anybody who's trying to reach that, why you gotta make shit connected all the time? Just relax.
I also really liked Cyril Karn as a character. He was this uptight Imperial simp,
And I like that he was just trying to get ahead in the game and then ended up losing his job altogether, just trying to catch Cassian. It's fucking funny.
It's funny watching him lose his temper and try to take matters into his own hands because he thinks he's a big, strong man, but he's just kind of actually a little bitch. He reminds me of Gabe from The Office, and I haven't stopped thinking about it since I started the show.
Shut up about the sun! Shut up about the sun!
I think the only thing I can say to criticize this show is that I wanted to see a little bit more aliens. There just weren't a lot of them. And I felt that more in the beginning of the season. As the show went on, there was definitely more. But for Star Wars, there was a lot of humans in this show. And I'd just like to see more aliens. This show brought us a really fun plotline, brand new characters we can now enjoy, and, you know, multiple seasons of content that apparently lead right into the events of Rogue One. I really enjoyed Andor, and it's funny because I really didn't expect I would. So overall, I'm going to give Andor, a Star Wars series, an 8.5 out of 10. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. I have a playlist full of Star Wars videos and other movie reviews, so please go check that out. As always, like, subscribe, and save Norbert now. Goodbye, guys.